Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, we are going to look at the brand new tank, the WZ-114. Now, we don't actually know too much about this tank because, as some of you know, the clan testing program has been put on hold for the time being. There is a super test thing that's going on at the minute, but with the clan testing, we would usually test these tanks, but we haven't seen the WZ-114 on the battlefield. If you have, you've probably been one of a few to only see this by the super testers. So what is the tank? Is it any good? Now, of course, it is a tier 9. It's a Chinese tier 9 collectible, so it's quite rare for a tier 9 collectible premium to actually come in the game. Apart from, of course, the 50 TP and the Ritter that have been clan rewards, there is only a couple tier 9 tanks. I mean, the T55. You've got the KPZ-70, and you've got the K91. Other than that, there isn't many. There isn't many tier 9 premium tanks or collectibles, so it's quite rare to have one of these in the store. So is it worth it? Is this tank worth it? Of course, you will be able to get your hands on this tank if you manage to get it in crates. Is the crates worth buying? Not the tank, is the crates worth buying? Now, first up, the few games I've had of this tank, no, it's not worth it. No tank's worth getting in the crates anyway. Like, you could spend a little bit, or you could spend a massive amount trying to get this tank. You never know, and that is the thing with crates. So straight off the bat, no, this isn't worth getting whilst it is in crates. So let's just talk about the tank itself like it wasn't in crates. Like, is it worth it in general? Is it worth spending money on this tank? I don't think so. I mean, I've had a few games in it already, and I'm not really enjoying it too much. The armor profile doesn't seem to work for me. I haven't actually seen the armor profile in Blitzhanger yet. I'm here in Blitzhanger, but I haven't actually taken a look at the armor profile. And this is actually the first time I'm looking at the stats. I've played it, I haven't looked at the stats, so let's have a look. So 2,200 HP, view range is 282.5, which is actually very, very good. And as you can see, below that, you've got the numbers, 1 out of 19. So it's the best for its class in tier 9. So that ain't bad at all. The DPM is one of the worst. If it's actually second to worst for its class at 2,161. That is really, really poor. So the DPM is really, really poor. And the DPM for the heat is the worst, 1,793. The DPM on the HE is 2,758, which again is one of the worst. So DPM, not good. Not good. So you have no DPM. What have you got? What else have you got with this tank that makes you want to buy it? Because it's not going to be the DPM. Now, the penetration is 254. Not bad. That's actually pretty good. 6th out of 19th for this tank. And the heat penetration is almost the worst at 310, so 15th out of 19th. But it will do. It will do. Damage, you've got a 470 alpha gun, which is pretty nice. And the let's have a look at the burst. No, it's a one shot. It's not an auto loader. Let's go down. It's a 130 millimeter gun. The rate of fire is 4.6. So again, one of the worst, the second to worst in its class. Reload time is 13 seconds. It's got no magazine. Now, the aim time is pretty good. In fact, one of the best in its class at 1.8 seconds. And the dispersion, also the second best for its class at 0.308. So them two, okay, pretty solid. Let's have a look at the gun depression is 9 degrees. Again, very, very good. So with it having 9 degrees, let's hope it has some armor, which we will get to. So the mobility is 32 kilometers per hour forward and 14 in reverse. So yeah, I mean, all these stats are pretty bad. You can see on soft terrain there, 18th out of 19, medium 17 out of 19, and hard terrain 17 out of 19. So these are not very good. So let's just go and have a look at the armor. Let's hope, because on paper the stats are not great. Let's have a look at the armor and let's hope the armor is pretty solid. But as I've said, I've had a couple of games and I personally can't get the armor to work. So you can see it's orange in most places. It does have spaced armor on the tracks, and of course the gun mantlet there around the gun mantlet is red. So of course the front of your turret, as you can see, either side of the gun mantlet is actually very, very strong, and no one's going to penetrate you. But if you go on the right side, just where it's orange, you got 300. So yeah, frontally, the turret is fairly strong. There's still parts of the tank that can be penetrated in that position, and of course you've got the roof. The roof's quite strong, and then you've got the hatches. Even though they're not big, but they're not that strong, 191 millimeters. So most people will penetrate you. So you need to sort of look up, or you need to use that gun depression. You have to use that gun depression to try and hide them hatches. Now, luckily, the big hatch there is on the one side. So you could side scrape, or you could sort of get an angle where you can hide that hatch. And if you're using some gun depression, you can see that it does become a little bit thicker, but not really too much. So even if you're in a hold down position, you do need to hide that hatch. And as you can see there, the sides of the turret are they're still strong and they can still bounce. Obviously that side, if you're sort of directly facing it, it becomes a lot weaker, and of course if you angle, it does become weaker. So it's one of them tanks where if you're going to go in a hold down position, then you need to wiggle. You need to wiggle. If you wiggle, you will get bounces, and hopefully move your gun around, you know, as it is like that, and just try and hide that hatch. Now, the upper plate is very strong at 400 millimeters, but the lower plate is only 200 millimeters thick. And to be honest, that is a big lower plate, so you need to try to hide that lower plate. If you can try and get the angles, you can see it is getting a bit stronger, and of course the upper plate, and then you've got these side bits here that are quite strong as well. So yeah, you're not going to bounce. The upper plate, of course, you are going to bounce, and the turret in the middle section, you are going to bounce. But that's about it, to be honest. You do have spaced armor, so if anyone tries shooting heat or HE at you, they're not going to do too well if they are shooting the tracks. But the side of the turret, not very strong. And of course, the rear is very, very weak as well. So let's just get into game and have a quick battle in this tank. So we are going to have a live gameplay here, because one of the decent-ish battles that I had, my replays were actually switched off. So not good at all. So we're going to have a quick live gameplay. Now, luckily, we are against tier 8s. Now, all the games that I've had have been against tier 10s. So let's see how this is. But for my first view on the tank, of course, it is not worth buying the crates. It really isn't worth buying the crates for this tank. And it's definitely I would say it's definitely a tier 8 tank. Now, of course, you do have some tanks that do really well against tier 10s when you're a tier 9. And you have tanks that don't do so well. And I think this is one of those. You know, the speed is sluggish. It's okay. But yeah, the DPM is very poor. The penetration is just, you know, the average. And it's definitely going to be one of those tanks that will perform much better in tier 8 than it would tier 10. If you're up against tier 10s, you're just going to get ripped apart. You really are. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration when you are driving this tank. Now, at the moment, do I go and try to face these? Because I might get shot from the right side there. So I'm going to go and push. There's 4 tanks here. Unfortunately, can't quite get the shot here, but now I'm going to either have to push. And you can see there, like, we're in a hold down position. We're not in a hold down position, but we're in a position. I mean, look, we can't do anything. We can't penetrate him, so we're just going to get wrecked here. So we're just going to back up for a bit, and see what we can, see what else we can do, because we can't do anything whilst we're in this position. So can we shoot this guy? No, I missed the button. Yes, we can. So stupidly I missed the button, and luckily this Ram Panzer is not facing me. And now there is a couple of tanks coming. So yeah, it's not looking great at the moment, but let's try and take out this guy, because okay, I'm just getting wrecked here. So let's just back up. There's an E75 that could actually be staring at me, and you can see we managed to get a bounce there, but that is it. So I don't want to be here anymore, because this E75 is now going to shoot me. Can I quickly get a shot before I back up? There goes the standard B, which is great, but the E75 is pushing, and I don't really want to be there for when he comes around. So there's the guy there. Do you know what? Now I am going to push. He's a one shot. Can we get the shot in? Yes, we can. So yeah, you can see that we have bounced a shot, but you really can't rely on this armor. And this is against tier 8s. I mean, I know we was just up against tier 9s there, but these are against tier 8s, so you will struggle against those tier 10s. So just bear that in mind. If you are coming up against tier 10s, you're not gonna bounce anything. You really are not gonna bounce anything. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Oh, hello. Hello, Mr. Ritter. Don't really want to come up against him, but yeah, it's very slow. You can see it's very slow. He's going to get the shot off. No, and I get a bounce. I actually get a bounce. GG. So, I mean, we've won this game. The TS over there is going to get shot. I'm going to take care of this guy. I don't care if I get shot there, but, and we should, hopefully, unless he runs away, we should get the kill. There we go. And that guy there should die anytime now. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't bounce anything. We got 2.8k damage, which is nothing at all. It's nothing special whatsoever. So in my opinion, it's overall, it's just an average tank. It is nothing that decent. We did manage to get first class, luckily, somehow, because no one's playing it. But yeah, it really, it's just average. It is just average and nothing else. And I don't think anyone should buy the crates to get this tank. Wait until it comes for sale, and of course, when it does come for sale, it'll probably come for sale for 15 to 20,000 gold. And even then, I really don't think it's worth that price. So yeah, I mean, let's have a look. You've still got the Object 752. I forgot about that tank, and I forgot about the AE Phase 1. The Object 752 definitely is way better than this this tank. It's one of the worst. It's, apart from the T55, I would probably rate this as the worst tier 9 premium collectible tank in the game. Let's we've got the K91, I think is decent. The AMX as well. I forgot about the AMX. That's pretty decent. So yeah, apart from what I've just said, where the T55, this is probably the worst tier, and maybe even worse than the T55. Maybe even worse than the T55. So this is probably the worst tier 9 premium tank in the game. But I'll leave it up to your opinion. This is my opinion. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But I'm just saying, don't waste your money in trying to get this tank. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.